Hi, everybody. Welcome to another week of Women Empowering Women. My name is Galit Ventura Rosen. I am a business performance expert and a professional speaker. One of my favorite things to do every week is interview amazing women entrepreneurs from all over the world. And today I'd like to welcome Amber Griffiths. Hi, welcome, Amber.
Hello. Thank you so much for having me, Galit.
Tell me where you're at. Where do you live?
I'm in Salt Lake City in Utah.
Oh, you're not too far from me.
No.
Yeah. How's it going up in Salt Lake City? Are you guys hitting the winter yet?
Sort of. It's actually really beautiful fall. It's gorgeous. It's my favorite time of year.
I know we don't get much fall in Vegas. We almost go from summer to winter. So when I get 75 or 80 degrees, I get really excited. And we're there right now, which is just gorgeous.
Oh, perfect. Drive a little north. We're like 70. Come on up.
Yeah, I love the heat, though. I much prefer it over the cold every day of the week. So. Yeah, that's me. That's me. Well, let's tell everybody a little bit about you before we jump into this wonderful topic that is so important. If you're an entrepreneur, if you run your own business, you most definitely want to know how to create your rock star brand. So we'll be talking about that in just a little bit. But Amber is a branding rock star and speaker, is driven by the belief that every entrepreneur has a unique story that only they can share. She spent more than 2 decades working with hundreds of business owners, creating brands worth hundreds of thousands of dollars. Amber is currently a member of eWomen Network, Women's Coaching Association, and Public Speakers Association. She's dedicated to helping you create your rockstar brand that is clear, cohesive, and converts. Huge. It could be gorgeous, but if it doesn't convert, it's not worth it. Exactly. You will make more money, experience the genuine thrill of working with people you adore, and get paid to do what you love. That all sounds wonderful to me. I'm in.
Isn't that a fun way to do business? Yay.
Yay. Well, tell us a little bit about how you got to this, how your journey got you here.
Oh my goodness. Let's see. I was going to be a pharmacist. And anybody who's known me for more than 20 seconds goes, really? Pharmacy? And then I realized really quickly that that was not where my personality was. There were not enough people there. So we started with some graphic design, and I got my marketing and my branding degree. And I started in corporate, and I loved corporate, and I loved my people there. But I also realized that I was doing so much more graphic design that I was doing, and there's nothing wrong with that, by the way. I love that.
I need graphic designers.
Yeah. Like it's a good skill, and it's way fun. Sure. But I realized that it's about 10% of what I am and who I am. And I was making about 10% of the impact that I wanted to make on the people.
Right.
So I launched my business about 11 years ago, and I have never looked back. It's been amazing. I get to work with the people I love to work with. Being able to say no is, it's huge. Being able to say yes to the stuff that matters and no to the stuff that isn't for me has just been a remarkable experience.
And I know you're going to give everybody tips today on how to create their rockstar brand. But before we even get started in how to create it, do you mind spending a few minutes talking about why branding is so important? And more than anything, it doesn't matter if you're an individual or a company, you still should have a brand.
Oh, absolutely. It does. I work with startups, entrepreneurs, small businesses, large corporations. And the one thing that really, it doesn't matter what the budget is or how long you've been in business, that's the one thing that really does tie everybody together. You all still need a brand. The word brand kind of gets mixed up with marketing or strategy and that kind of thing. So for me, your brand is everything you say and everything you do to create an amazing relationship that is profitable with your ideal client. So you can see how that would apply to everyone.
So stop for a second, because I think that's so important. I almost want to write it across the top. Okay, so important. That is profitable and attracts your ideal
client. Absolutely. Absolutely. That's part of why branding is so important. You watch these people and they work with people that are meh, nothing will suck the joy out of your business and the life out of you more than working with people that are not yours. I call it, I'm like, that's $20 the hard way. You're working with people that you kind of like they're good people, but they're not your ideal client. So you end up having conversations about how much do you charge, and can you do this one for trade, and could you do a discount? And you end up doing things that are not right within your center of your zone of genius. You end up doing things that you like to do, but you don't love to do them. And that spending your entire day going, meh, it's okay. Like the word fine is the death of a business, I think. You have to elevate it. And with a brand,
how's business fine?
Oh, yeah.
I love that.
Last time you went networking, it's okay.
I have to mention real quick for those that don't know, because some of us, it's in our language. Amber mentioned the zone of genius, and I always recommend to so many people to read the book, The Big Leap by Gay Hendricks. So he's one of those people that writes about the zone of genius, and what the zone of genius is. You're working, or let's rephrase, you're spending most of your time doing what you are good at, but also love doing, and it doesn't feel like work. So that's working in your zone of genius. And I also always compare it to the zone of excellence, which a lot of us operate in, which is the level right underneath it that the book talks about, where your zone of excellence really is you're really good at what you do and you could do it in your sleep. I have that in many areas of my life and my businesses. But it's not really what I want to spend most of my day doing.
It's okay.
So, yeah, more than okay. It makes me a lot of money and I'm really good at it. I'm never going to give it up, but I love to spend a lot more time in my zone of genius. So just something to think about that Amber brought up that I think is really important. And branding to me is everything in business. It begins and ends with branding. So why don't you go ahead and start? Excuse me.
Sure. So to create your rockstar brand, the first 3 keys I will share, there's about 10, but I will share with you the first 3 because it is upon that foundation that everything else is built. Branding is a verb. It is not something you create and then put on a shelf and it's done. So sorry, everybody, if you thought it was just going to be checked off and handled, it's just not. The first step I would tell you, the very first key is to claim your voice. This is your unique story. This is the way you do everything. This is your flair. This is your super sauce, whatever that is. But no one else can do what you do exactly the way you do it. And the more you claim that 100%, the more you get to share it. You get to put it out there. Your ideal clients can actually see you. One of those things that is the easiest way in the world to blend in with everybody who you consider your competition is to not embrace that voice, not use your terminology, your lingo, your special sauce. So that's claiming your voice. If you don't know what that is, we should have a chat, but really go back to your core values. What do you find absolutely most important? What do you hold most dear? If you have ever left money on the table, if you've ever walked away from something that could have been a potential client or a potential project, but something was a little off, that's probably because it was out of alignment with a core value. So as much as that feels a little gushy, your core values will affect your behavior and they will absolutely drive your business. So start there. And
your clients can feel it too.
Oh, absolutely.
So I'm sorry, everybody, I'm struggling a little bit today with allergies, but I'll try not to choke. I think that it's really important for anyone watching to recognize it might sound wishy-washy, oh, do what you love, do what you love. But at the end of the day, look at it a different way. If you need to look at it logically, which I'm logical and I'm also on the creative side, you want to look at it as others can tell. How many times have you spoken to a friend or a potential client or a potential job, whatever it is, and you were so passionate about something that they actually looked at you like this? I could tell you really are good at this, or you really love what you do, or you're really passionate. That's what Amber's talking about when she talks about the core values.
Yeah, it's absolutely tangible. It's part of why when I talk about branding, I talk about not only is it the money, but it's the thrill of doing what you love. It will come out of every pore, and you get to make this face all day long instead of going, business is fine, right? And I used to tell that people with graphic design, they're like, why can you pull out of my head? I didn't say this, but this is exactly what I wanted. I'm like, because I love doing this. It's just one of those things, and it comes across on paper, it comes across in your speech, it comes across in the way you hold yourself. So it is absolutely critical in your brand. So the second key is to connect with your raving fans, your crazy, amazing, raving fans. So this is not a target audience. This is not your approximate market. These are the people that will come to every single concert, buy every single CD. They will sit in the front 3 rows. They will buy and wear the concert t-shirt. We're talking ideal client. They love you. They will never question your value. Even if the budgets don't mix up or don't mesh or the timeline isn't right, they will never question the value you provide. They will never ask you to work outside of that zone of genius. If you do A, B, and C really well, you've got clients probably on your schedule that are asking you to do J and maybe P and Q. Your ideal client will recognize that A, B, and C is where you do your best work. And that's what they want you to do. So by connecting with those raving fans, getting super specific, and you can do the demographics, women 35 to 60, people with skin, the demographics sometimes help. But if you can get into the psychographics a little bit, what are their actual challenges? What are their pain points? This is one of those really special, if you want to figure out if they're your ideal client or not, figure out what that person's biggest challenge is. And if your solution doesn't take care of it, they're not your ideal client. Let them go. So if your schedule is full of people that you can mostly help, or that you get to be about 60% of the awesomeness that is you, probably not your ideal client. Does that make sense?
Yes, it does. And I think that sometimes we have two groups of people. We have the raging fans, but we also have the ideal client. And I think that's what you're saying, right, Amber? You're not saying they're the same, right?
Not necessarily.
Okay. That's what I'm understanding.
Yeah. Usually there's the group of people that you are absolutely meant to serve. Because if you started your business, generally it's because you saw a pain in the world, you saw a challenge out there, and you went, I have a solution for that. I can make that better. I can make these people's lives better, enhance their excitement, enhance their joy, make them more money, whatever your solution does. Those are your ideal clients. Those are the people who will always, they are meant for you. Every single thing about them, there's no caveats, no apologies. They are yours. They're also the ones who will refer you like crazy and talk highly of you and gladly.
I call them the cheerleaders.
Absolutely.
Yeah, it's the same thing. I call them the cheerleaders. It doesn't matter what you put out there, which most of us are putting out good stuff.
Right.
It doesn't matter what you put out there. They're sharing it. They're telling everybody about it. Then all of a sudden somebody's calling you because of them. That is important.
Yeah.
That is a great piece of advice, because if we don't know who those people are, how can we put out the right brand to attract them? So you've got to know who you want to work with. Please know who you, and one thing that Amber said that stood out to me was, yes, we each have our demographic, but we'll also work with people outside our demographic. So it just gives us an idea, but it's not always. So my demographic across the board on all of my insights and all of my pages would be like 35 to 55. But I've got clients that are 27 and I've got clients that are 70. So it doesn't always mean, you just want to try to target, but there's always going to be people outside of that as well.
Absolutely. Again, this comes down to your biggest bang for your buck. If you're going to invest time, energy, money, any resource at all, you want the biggest return on your investment. And again, for me, that's money and the thrill of doing what you're doing. So that's the biggest thing. The third key I want to share with you really fast is crafting your message. This is so you know who you are, you know who they are, and those are the two relationships, people in the relationship. Now you need to speak to them in a way that engages them and inspires them to take action. This is not just a casual, hello, how are you? This really speaks to the benefits you provide. It speaks to their pain. This is using words that they understand. I mean, when was the last time you heard somebody stand up and explain what they did and you understood about 10% of it? Like, avoid using your inside lingo unless your ideal client also understands that. I drove by on our freeway and saw a billboard for programmers. My husband's a programmer. And I looked at that and I'm like, what the heck does that even mean? And he starts laughing. He's like, clearly that you are not their ideal client, because it just completely weeded out those people who didn't understand what they were looking for. So it wasn't a big deal. But you want to make sure that you speak super clearly. I've watched people get so excited about sharing their entire life in 30 seconds or less. And I'm like, that's not what this is about. This is about crafting a single comment. And it's not about memorizing the words either. I would go so far as to create almost like a vocabulary list. This is how I like to talk about my business. This is how I want to be remembered when I'm done working with someone. Those are the kind of vocabulary words. That's how you craft your message that will clearly share what you do, clearly explain the benefits of working with you, and engage your ideal client and move them to action in a profitable way.
Yeah, and a lot of us struggle with that. I'm going to bring up a little bit that I see, and I also see with a lot of people I work with. A lot of us are so good at so many things, and we offer a large variety of things that what is your suggestion when you've got almost a laundry list of things that you offer a client? How do you craft your message to still make it straight and to the point?
That's part of the very first step of claiming your voice. That's where you find your one thing.
Okay.
That's where you get that's your zone of genius. That's part of where you identify what that is, that you absolutely love to do it. You would do it for free if your business didn't depend on it. Like that's the big thing. And that's how you speak to that message. You may get into a sales conversation or into a relationship and they find out they need the other 18 things that you do, but you pick that one thing that is going to speak to that ideal client. And part of that is knowing your audience. If you're going into a random networking event, set your intention, decide what you want to get out of that and who you actually want to reach. And that's how you speak to that. You start giving me a laundry list. I don't know where you excel. I don't know how to call you and say, this is my expert on this. So it's harder for me to connect with you. It's harder for me to call you and say, I know you kick butt at this. Let's work together. It's harder for me to refer you. So pick your one thing and speak to that. Speak to that one person too. Don't speak to anybody and everybody. Nobody responds to that.
Do you know what I tend to do, Amber? Because again, with my company, we do so many things.
Right.
Is I tend to focus on the one thing that most is related to the audience I'm in front at that networking event. So for example, if I'm going to a luncheon with women business owners, I'm only going to be talking about my business mentoring. If I'm going to a convention where these women are looking to learn how to get in front of their ideal audience to speak, I'll only talk about the speaking. And so I've tended to craft my message and even my bio related to the audience that I'm going to be in front of. Yeah. Do you think that's a good idea?
I absolutely do, because then they're going to be the ones who can self-identify. The second you start speaking, they're like, oh, that's me. That's me. I got it. Yeah. So yeah, if you know the audience you're going to, and if you're headed to an event and you really don't know exactly who's going to be there, who do you want to be there? Who do you want to meet? Who do you want to connect with? And speak to that. So absolutely, this is not you have to, I talk to people who are like, but I do 30 things. How do I do this? Think of it maybe this way. Who do I want to work with next? What do I want to focus on first? And then move on. So yeah, whoever's in your audience, if you know specifically who's there, absolutely speak to that. Bring up your best possible solution for that specific audience. Absolutely.
Love that. So do me a favor, just tell us the 3 points again, just so we can leave with them, and then we'll jump into how people can get a hold of you.
Perfect. So claim your voice, connect with your fans, and craft your message.
Okay, that's a really easy way, at least an easy start. Obviously, there's a lot more steps associated to creating your brand, but I wanted Amber to give you guys a few steps that you could look at right away. And I think it's important, if you're interested in creating your brand, your rock star brand, I want Amber to tell you guys how to get a hold of her and learn more about working with her.
Absolutely. I would love to have a conversation with you. I offer complimentary discovery duets. It's just a conversation, just one-on-one, and we can really dive into what's working with your brand, what isn't. Sometimes it requires an overhaul. Sometimes you've just outgrown it. And other times it's just tweaking a couple of words that really engage your ideal client. So go to yourbrandbydesign.com/duet, DUET, and you can snag a spot on my calendar and we'll have a chat.
And I'm sure you're all over social media. Is it under your business name?
All over social. You can find me under Branding Rockstar on Facebook. LinkedIn is Your Brand by Design. If you can't find Branding Rockstar, it's Your Brand by Design.
Perfect. Thank you so much. I'm so glad we had the opportunity to give everybody such great tips today. I'm glad I made it through the interview.
Yay, you're okay.
The show must go on. So
thank you so much for having me. This has been a
absolutely. I did not want to cancel because of this cough today. But everybody, thank you again for watching another week of Women Empowering Women. My name is Galit Ventura Rosen, and I appreciate you. And thank you, Amber.
Thank you.